Week 5 waiver wire, guys. We're going to do this a little bit earlier than most weeks. All right, man, let's start this list with Kenneth Gainwell. We have to talk about him. Jaylen Warren, surprise sit Sunday morning. For me, it was a 3:30 p.m. game. For all of you guys, what was it, like 6 a.m., something like that? So he gets a surprise start, ends up fucking smashing, dude. Thousands of people rolled out of their beds, fell to their knees to see that Jaylen Warren was still in their lineups, and Kenneth Gainwell had fucking 30 points. He had 25 opportunities. He was just smashing, bro. Every time he touched the ball, he was breaking tackles. He was breaking ankles. He was snatching people's lunch boxes. He looked phenomenal. And conversely, Caleb Johnson looked like an absolute trash bag. He looked like somebody, dude, I will pay extra FAAB just to drop this fucking Caleb Johnson. I am fully over him. Basically, he's now the third option. So Kenneth Gainwell is the clear number 2. Maybe he gets a lot of work moving forward because he proved himself, bro. He was already getting a good amount of work before this. 54% of snaps week 1, 42% in week 2, and 26% in week 3. But he does get the touchdown, the goal line look. And then he just looks phenomenal, man. I think it's going to be a 2-man split moving forward with Warren and Gainwell. And you got to pick him up, bro. Because of that, he is the number 1 option. Guys, in the Discord, I'm going to put every week, I put this document where it's essentially all the waiver wire picks, how much money I had to spend on them in FAAB, and how I have them ranked. So who's my number 1 guy, number 2 guy. And I try to give a little bit more insights to like what type of team should be picking him up if you're like win now, or maybe you want somebody more speculative. But let's move along now. And we're going to be talking about Woody Marks next up on the docket. Woody Marks had an increasing snap share. I want to show you guys this quick tweet from Dave Klug. Week 1, 85-15 split. Then it was 80-20. Then it was 60-40. Now it's 40-60 in favor of Woody Marks. I said on Friday, man, in our waiver stash video, pick up Woody Marks. And if he plays more than Nick Chubb this week, it's official. He's taken over the backfield, and he ended up already doing it in week 4. 25 fantasy points. He looked great on his touchdown. On I think his rushing touchdown run, he broke like 3 tackles, gets into the end zone. He's got just enough burst. He's got a receiving profile. The dude profiles as a 3-down back, man. That's all there is to it. And we got to be picking him up. We got to spend quite a lot of FAAB on him. Now, I will say 2 things, man. Number 1, they were shutting the Titans out. They were winning by fucking 25 points or something. It was like 26-0. And pretty much the whole game, the Titans had no chance. Is that why Nick Chubb didn't really play kind of in the second half and they just fully went with Woody Marks? He was playing better than Chubb the whole game. Maybe that's also why. So it's a tough one to know how this backfield looks moving forward. I don't think Nick Chubb fully goes away. I don't think he's going to just be deleted, Thanos snapped off this team. But I love Woody Marks as a talent. It's not a great O-line, right? That's the second thing, that the offensive line is really bad. This is a game where they just beat up on the Titans. I wouldn't expect this, especially, I mean, next week they got Baltimore, right? So I wouldn't be expecting this. And then they got the bye week, then Seattle, San Francisco, Denver, Jacksonville, which also isn't a pushover. So it's kind of a tough schedule, tough O-line. What's Nick Chubb going to do? I wouldn't drop like all your FAAB on him. He was the guy that you really wish you would have stashed him so you don't have to pay a lot and you don't feel like you have to stick him into your lineups because you drop so much FAAB, right? So that does it for Woody Marks, man. He's still number 2 on the list just because of what he was able to do. He's probably just going to be like a 60% RB, right? And that is essentially a starter for us. And then we got Kendre Miller next up. Let me find the man's name. All right, man. So 11 for 65, dude. He's had some increasing snap shares the entire season. Alvin Kamara just hasn't looked really good as a runner, as a between the tackles runner. That's never really been Alvin Kamara's forte. Kamara still goes 15 for 70, 5 targets, 4 receptions. Kamara had a pretty decent opportunity share, right? He had almost 20 opportunities, or he had exactly 20 touches. And, it just hasn't really been able to do too much. This is just not a good offense. It was a tough game against the Bills. They were hanging in there. Kendre Miller had one of the better plays in the game where he busts off like a nice touchdown run. So I'm not saying Kendre Miller is going to take over the backfield, but it looks like he's going to be kind of similar to the next guy on this list, where he's just going to be a good handcuff that gets some work, similar to Tyler Algier. So I would pick him up, and then that also leads us to the next guy on this list. I might have to type his name in, right? Blake Corum. Let me find him. Blake Corum, man, very similar to Kendre Miller, an increasing snap share throughout the season. Sean McVay said he wants to see a 65-35 type of split between them. He's looked pretty decent most of the year. This last week, he had a lot of trouble finding any running room. He only goes 9 for 21. He gets 4 targets, which we like to see, but, -5, 2 catches for -5 yards. He was getting stuffed. And Indianapolis, the Colts, their defense is legit. They have a really good defense. So you can chalk it up to that. Kyren Williams actually looked pretty decent in this game, right? He goes 13 for 77, but he does have a big fumble. Ended up not costing him the game, but he fumbles. Kyren Williams has been known to fumble. I don't think he's going to lose his job. Sean McVay must be fucking this man's wife, dude, because he just loves himself some Kyren Williams. He will never give this backfield to Corum. So that dream is probably not going to stay alive, but we still got to pick him up. He's a high value handcuff on a really good offense. And if Kyren were to go down, he would be a fab dump player. Right? You'd dump all your fab on him. So let's go back to the trending. And we got a couple wide receivers I want to talk about first. And the first one is Romeo Doubs. Obviously pops up for 3 touchdowns. Look, man, this is a fucking game where the entire fantasy community was calling for a Matthew Golden big game, right? Matthew Golden, this is, everything set up for him to smash. And Romeo Doubs says, yo, hold my beer. Let me fucking comb my nappy ass hair. I have arrived. It is me. It is Romeo Doubs, man. He goes 8 targets, 6 for 58, and 3 touchdowns. Most of his touchdowns came kind of within the red zone. So he was getting there weren't like deep bomb touchdowns or anything like that. That role is still kind of reserved to Matthew Golden and, whatever other fucking random dude they want to pull off the street and give targets to, because I hate this offense and I hate the fact that Golden can't see more than fucking like 6 targets in a single game, man. It just boils my blood. Golden himself actually goes 5 for 58, looks pretty decent, has like a big play right out the bat, but does jack fuck all. But anyway, let's go back to Romeo Doubs, man. Should we pick him up? Right? Should we pick up, giant helmet, guardian cap Romeo Doubs? So he had 3 red zone targets going into this game, and he now finishes after week 4 with about 7 or 8. I think he might have had like 4 red zone targets in this game, including the 3 touchdowns. So yeah, man, he's somebody that if you're going to pick him up, just know this. There's going to be games where he's going to have only 2 targets, 4 targets, right? He might get into the end zone. He might have a decent yards per catch, 10 or so yards per catch. He can get touchdowns, man. He's an absolute end zone weapon. But just know they got the bye week coming up. They got Cincy, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Carolina. They have a pretty decent schedule. You're not really afraid of anyone on the Packers' schedule necessarily, maybe Denver in week 15, but that doesn't really matter, right? You're looking for a guy you can fill in. He's the wide receiver 16 on the season. You can do a lot worse. If you're just holding random wide receivers looking for upside, like if you're holding like a Troy Franklin and there's a Doubs on the waiver wire, I'd just pick up Doubs, right? He's got a lot more touchdown upside. He seems to be like the number 1 end zone guy. So now we have some unfortunate news, man. You guys probably might have seen it already that Malik Nabers probably an ACL injury, which leaves some opportunity for a couple guys. We're first going to talk about Darius Slayton because he's the lesser attractive guy, but he was on the list, so I just clicked on him, and now we're going to talk about him first, man. So he goes 3 for 44 in Nabers' stead. Now I just will say this. Darius Slayton is the deep guy. He's the X receiver. He's going to be the guy that gets a lot of sacrificial. He's just out there running cardio routes, bringing safeties away. And that's kind of his role on this team. I don't imagine that changing, right? He's not going to be a high volume player. Does that mean he could still blow up for a couple games and have a couple deep bomb touchdowns? Of course, just like a lot of these archetype players, right? Think Kayshon Boutte, think Tyquan Thornton, think fucking MVS in his heyday. That's what Darius Slayton's going to be, right? And because of that, the guy who's a lot more attractive, probably already picked up because he did blow up already earlier in the season, Wan'dale Robinson. He might have been dropped. He had 3 and then 2 fantasy points. Make sure you look at the players that get dropped this week on waivers. And in week 1 and 2, he gets 8 and 10 targets. He goes 8 for 142 and a touchdown in week 2. He showed his diversity, right? That was something that was really important. That was that crazy game against Dallas where like everyone was scoring points. Fucking, my dog got a couple snaps and scored a touchdown. So Wan'dale Robinson, he goes 8 for 142, shows this big, yards per target. In week 3, he also gets 1 for 26, which gives him another 26 yards per catch. The volume is not there. That's something that's a little bit concerning. After week 2, the volume really tapered off. But now with Nabers going out, I think Wan'dale Robinson assumes that role, which is kind of that hybrid role, right? They're going to line him up out wide. They're going to line up him in the slot. He's going to be all over the field. That's the guy that we want to really pick up. I haven't done too much thoughts in terms of how much fab I'd spend on a guy like Wan'dale, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. I drop 40% plus on a guy like Wan'dale. He's going to be a rest of season every down starter for a team that looks pretty exciting, man. They just beat the Chargers. Jackson Dart looks great. He runs a lot, but he looks like he can be great for fantasy, man. So Wan'dale Robinson is probably my number 1 wide receiver pickup. Again, I'll have all these players ranked in the Discord. I'm kind of just going through them as I see them. But Darius Slayton is another one you can just throw a couple bucks at, see what happens. Let's move now down the list. Now I'm just going to go through this list and kind of shotgun off my thoughts on some of these players. I hope that's a decent experience for you guys. So Jalen Tolbert, not bad. He had 61 yards, 6 targets. Pickens just assumed the CeeDee Lamb role. I really thought that Pickens would stay in his X role and Jalen Tolbert would be used as kind of the hybrid. It was the other way around. Jalen Tolbert was the X receiver most of the time. He was getting most of the deep targets, most of the cardio routes. And Pickens was the guy lined up usually on the left side, doing a little bit of everything, doing the intermediate stuff, the crossers. He was just busting people's asses. I wouldn't expect the same type of production from Pickens moving forward. I mean, what a fantastic. He proved a lot of people wrong, man. A lot of fantasy analysts were saying that Pickens that we don't think he can be as good as a guy like Lamb could be, right? And in his first game in that role, he was absolutely fantastic. You're going to ignore Luke McCaffrey. I don't think I mean, 3 targets, you can't chase that, right? Let's see who else. Turpin, just not enough work, not enough volume. Parker Washington falls right back to earth. Trey Tucker falls right back to earth. Sterling Shepard does fuck all. Godwin gets like 10 targets. Addison looks phenomenal. I mean, he almost busts off an 80-yard touchdown, but it looks like he wasn't doing any sprints while he was out. That pretty much does it for wide receivers. Let's talk about tight ends. There's just a couple names that are interesting. If you can pick up Darren Waller ahead of tonight's game, pick him up. Let's see what happens. Looks like he's going to be playing. If he assumes that John Smith role, which I doubt he's going to do, but what if he does? He could be really interesting. Brendan Strange, he's just getting so many goddamn targets, man. So many fucking targets. 7 targets in back-to-back weeks, 6 for 45. He's getting most of the underneath stuff. He's pretty much Dallas Goedert cloned. I've never seen him and Goddard in the same room together. So, it's a decent offense. They're winning games. It's a Liam Cohen offense, and I think you could do a lot worse, right? And if Hunter Henry's still on the waiver, obviously pick him up. At this point, he's just so involved. He gets touchdowns. He's involved in the offense. You got to pick him up. Cole Kmet, a decent little fill-in starter. He's actually, 9 targets is actually kind of insane. Only 3 for 46, but that was because Caleb was just really hot and cold the entire game. And he's going into a bye week, so you're probably not super stoked about holding a meh tight end, right? Colson Loveland could be back by the time the bye is done as well. I don't really know what Colson Loveland's injury is. Let's have a look. Inactive. He had a hip. Yeah, he's probably going to be back with the bye. You probably don't want to pick up Komet. Kyle Pitts, Oronde Gadsden. I said pick him up as a stash and let's see what his usage looks like. And his usage actually was decent. He ran quite a lot of routes. He only gets 3 targets, though, 2 for 16. Now, to be fair to Gadsden, and I still stick by the fact that he's a good pickup and stash, is that Lad McConkey had 1 catch, right? Like, this is a fucking weird offense. Amarian Hampton, he was straight up LaDainian Tomlinson. Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston is probably the best draft pick / waiver pickup you could have gotten in 2025. He looks so good. Is this team's like workhorse wide receiver at the moment. He's their wide receiver 1. I said like 2 weeks ago, if I could trade Lad McConkey straight up for Quentin Johnston, I would do it. And that's 2 weeks later of more data seeing Lad McConkey even be further down this pecking order. I'd still be down to have Lad. It feels like my 4th wide receiver if I'm in like a 2 flex league. But anyway, back to Gadsden. Pick him up. I think he's a decent stash. Obviously, Goddard. This is kind of a mirage. It's not really a mirage, but it's like, do you want to stick your season on a guy who's getting 4 targets and he can easily just be phased out one game where it's AJ Brown, one game it's Saquon, one game it's Jalen Hurts the next. There's just so many weapons, man. This is one where 4 for 37, you're not happy about that, but he gets the 2 touchdowns. That's the only reason he's a good pickup. Maybe I'm fucking coping because I had him and I dropped him. I also had Kincaid, dropped him, and now I'm starting Fannin, who looks like fucking he's not going to do shit for me all season. But anyway, man, let's talk about quarterbacks real quick. We'll wrap this video up with quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota is always serviceable just as a fill-in. He's not going to get you like 30 fantasy points, but he'll get you 20. He'll get you 16. He's not going to blow your season up. So as long as Jaden is out, Marcus Mariota is startable. Jackson Dart, absolutely pick him up. We saw the rushing upside. He goes 10 for 54, does get a touchdown. Now, I want to see more through the air, man. 13 for 111 and a touchdown is just not going to get it done. He's going to have to be so good on the ground that you're going to be really unhappy with him most weeks, right? If that passing game, and without Nabers, man, he might be decent for fantasy. I don't know if he has like that high upside, that like Jaden Daniels type. I mean, not many players do, right? So Jackson Dart, you still want to pick him up if you're using like a pocket passer, like a Purdy. Jackson Dart might give us a little bit more upside, right? In a game where Jackson Dart was like his first game against a tough defense, he still outscores Purdy. So, yeah, I think I'd do that. If Purdy's available too, I don't hate it. Geno Smith but you just can't pick up and start Geno Smith, man. Because one game he'll get you 26 points, and then the very next game he'll get you 12, right? He'll throw 3 picks. It's just, that's the Geno experience. You can't do it. That pretty much does it, man. If Fields is available, obviously pick him up. He's like a top. I mean, in that game against Buffalo, he was looking real bad, but still 5 for 49. You know what he's capable of. Am I missing anyone, man? Handcuffs. Obviously, pick up your running backs, man. Justice Hill, kind of a mirage. I wouldn't chase that. That was just a weird game where they were losing, so they were using him. And then, Lamar goes out, Justice Hill. I like the involvement. I'm not going to lie, man. He's been getting like 4 targets a game, 3 targets, 4. He went 3 for 45 in week 3 against Detroit. Looked pretty good, man. It's so like, honestly, man, I think he's one of the better backups or handcuffs. I think Justice Hill is somebody where if you got an extra spot, you could do worse. Xavier Scott. Unfortunately, Jones is coming back, man. I just don't know if that's real. He did look great. He had an awesome toe tap touchdown, but I don't know if it's going to stick around once Aaron Jones is back. But for the time being, dude, you might be able to pick up Scott and against Cleveland, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd start him against Cleveland. You can't do it, dude. You just can't. Emmanuel Wilson pops up. 8 for 44 on the ground and then 3 for 37. This motherfucker had almost 80 all-purpose yards, man. I mean, again, it was that Dallas game. There's 80 combined points scored, but still, dude, he's a great backup. As long as Marshawn Lloyd is just permanently injured, I think Emmanuel Wilson is a handcuff that we definitely want to have, right? Last name that I do want to talk about is Brashard Smith, guys. So increasing snap share, increasing workload. He gets 4 attempts for 9 yards. He gets 4 targets, 3 for 27. This is a guy we need to have a couple eyes on, man. So 13% snaps, 8% snaps, 11% snaps. I think he was about 23 or 25% snaps in week 4. He's heating up when it comes to his opportunities. This is a team. They're currently 2-3, right? Or 2-2. I think they're 2-2 now, right? The Chiefs. It's crazy that they just beat the Ravens. Keep your eyes on this man. Put a fucking waiver pickup for him. Put him at the end of your bench just to see what happens, man. If I'm wrong, you banish him to the shadow realm when we move on, bro. But anyway, that does it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me your time. Let me know what waiver pickups I might have missed, man. If there are any guys that, look good, that look sneaky, I'm always on the lookout for extra tips from you guys. So make sure you guys join the Discord down in the YouTube description, as well as in the top pinned comment. Link to the Discord. Dope little community. We're talking about every day, man. We're helping each other with sit starts. We're doing polls. We're doing trade advice. It's a sick little community. Thank you to everyone from the Discord for watching and for always showing up. You guys are goated, man. Sorry I couldn't make it to the Sunday live, but as you guys know, just some personal stuff. But we're going to be cranking some more videos. Hopefully, I'll try to get as many videos as I can this week. That doesn't matter. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.